Now we've been needing a patio out here at the lake for a couple of years now. We've been walking on gravel for several years, and today is the day that we're gonna be putting down the patio of our dreams. Throughout the construction process, we looked at several different options for a patio, one of which was stamped concrete, which we can't do that out here because being on the lake, the water shedding off of that concrete was gonna be an issue, especially with our wood retaining wall right here. The other of which was a paver patio, and we've got about 15 to 1600 square feet of patio, and I knew that would be a ton of pavers, and if you haven't seen my last paver patio video, I don't know if I want to tackle a project that big. Then I happened to stumble across a video on TikTok, and that was of a resin-bound gravel product from a company called Vuba Stone. It looked epic and it was super permeable from the videos I saw, so that's what we're gonna be putting down today, and I'm gonna show you exactly how we did it. So this product really isn't a DIY project, or at least this version of it isn't. So I reached out to my buddy Matt from KIK Concrete Solutions here in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area, and he actually liked it so much that he figured he would bring it on as one of his in-house product offerings. The other cool thing is, since he's such a good friend, he allowed me to help out and kind of learn the process along the way. First things first was to prep the stone base. We had a lot of gravel in here, however, there was some organic material mixed into the top. We needed to scoop all of that out so that we had a nice drainable base with clean rock below. You see, in order for the Vuba Stone to be permeable, everything below it needs to drain, which is why this is so important. The way the system gets installed is with a layer called Vuba Mac. And the Vuba Mac layer is a resin-bound gravel that goes over the structural reinforcement mesh that creates a monolithic bond. This guarantees long-lasting performance, even more so than like asphalt or concrete in terms of longevity and flexibility. Plus, it gives us a nice firm layer to install the Vuba Stone on. But before we could do that, we had some concrete work that we needed to do. We really needed to clean up the edge and add some steps around the outside of the doors, as well as just the foundation itself, which was in pretty rough shape. Another thing we needed to do was add a short concrete retaining wall to retain the edge of the patio where the yard seemed to fall off. We also needed to pour a couple extra concrete steps to make sure that everything worked out right in terms of height and getting to the patio. One of the issues with the concrete that I want to make sure is that it's nicely secured to the foundation itself. Now, the way that I'm going to be doing that is I'm going to drill in some tap cons and leave them hanging out, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches, and then attach rebar to that. That way, that curb is like pinned to the foundation and it won't separate over time. We also needed to frame up a couple steps here and then form up a curve that connects to that little retaining wall. Now this is all gonna get covered with the patio material in one of the next steps. We kind of needed a wall or an edge to kind of retain the patio. So this is kind of our retaining wall area. I was able to shoot it with a laser and make sure we had a little bit of fall, even though since this is a permeable patio, we don't need a ton of fall because it's just gonna, the water's just gonna permeate through it. But this will retain that patio. And then this whole sidewalk is gonna get covered as well. But down here, I needed to add another step. And the one thing that I am super excited about using today is this guy right here. This is the mud mixer, and this will be my first time using it, but from what I hear, this thing is pretty cool. So we're about to get started on that. We'll see how it goes. Ready? All right, so we've been through 2 entire pallets of concrete, and I gotta say, I love the mud mixer. We got down to the last bag of concrete. We went through 84 80-pound bags today. And I gotta say, this thing being able to shoot in this little 4-inch trench all the way along the house has been killer. So the way that this thing works is I've got the hopper extension, and that feeds down into there, which there's an auger in there that shoots that auger pulls the concrete all the way through this trough and out. But right in there is 2 water nozzles, and those spray the concrete and get it wet as this mixes it as it comes out the chute. And you can dial in the water pressure here depending on the water pressure from the house. This thing performed amazingly, and we got a ton done today. The 2 steps down there, these steps here, and the retaining wall all the way along there, as well as all the way along the house, the step around the back, this step, and we just got to finish up here. With all the concrete work done, then we could move on to some finer aggregate that goes on top of that 3/4 inch stone. This is all clean stone, so it's gonna drain really nice once the patio goes down. All right, so we've got our base layer down, and this is the larger of the crushed granite. This is about 3/4 of an inch, just to give you an idea of size, 3/4, 5/8, something like that. This is our big, coarse, clean base layer. And then the next is gonna be our top coat for our base, and this is the finer granite. So this is crushed granite, probably more like 3/8 of an inch, but it's nice because it's clean and it's got these like jagged edges. That way when it'll compact really well and kind of hold its plane. The other nice thing is that it's fine enough to where we can actually screed this with a board and get it nice and flat, just how we want our patio to finish up. So I'm doing a 1-inch, should be around a 1-inch layer of this. It's called granite fines, where we got it from, but smaller chip granite. So we kind of want to just spread this 1-inch layer, and then we can come back with a screed board and screed it and get it nice and flat. So you can kind of, obviously we'll need to shoot all this with a laser, but you get the point. We can get this really good and flat, whereas that coarser stuff is definitely harder to work with. All right, so we're out here working on the patio. This is day 2 of actually putting down the material. Like I said before, we've got all the good clean gravel down, so it's gonna drain right. And yesterday we worked on the vertical, which is a slightly different mix. It's a little bit tackier. You gotta prime the surface to be able to get the stone to stick against the vertical surface. Now today we're gonna be working on the patio itself. We laid down the structural reinforcement mesh, which goes down and kind of just solidifies the whole surface, kind of ties everything together. And now the next layer is actually going to be another layer of this finer gravel. So as you can see here, this is mixed with resin that goes into a screed box, and we're just going to kind of make this our base layer. So this is going to go down on top of that mesh, and we'll kind of compact that down and trowel that nice and smooth, and that'll give us a nice solid surface for our final layer to go on. So we finished up the Vuba Mac layer, and I wanted to see how drainable this actually was. I turned on the faucet, and as you can see, the water flowed right through it just as intended. And finally, the top cap is the actual Vuba Stone itself. You can pick from a ton of different colors, and honestly, this color that we chose is a mix of 2 to 3 different types of stone. You mix that all together with a resin, which is UV stable, and then trowel that on nice and smooth. So the Vuba Stone is down here getting mixed with the resin. And the Vuba Stone's kind of cool because you can pick your colors and you can actually mix several different colors to make up a color. Like this one is like a brownish stone mixed with some white quartz to get the finished look that we want. Then we take the Vuba Stone that's after it's mixed and we put it in the screet box, which is right here. Now the screet box, you set the height and that screets on just 3/8 of an inch thick Vuba Stone, and then we can trowel it smooth like so. So you get everything mixed and troweled, and you can even use this power trowel right here to help out the process. So as you can see here, when it kind of goes on, when it's screeted on, it's still loose. But then as you trowel it, you get this nice smooth look. So I hope you guys enjoyed our patio video. This is like something I've never seen before, and I absolutely love how it turned out. We couldn't be happier with just the way that the water flows through it, the look of it, everything. It just looks stunning. Until next time, be safe and happy building.